It is Friday night in association with Erdinger. I am Neil Atkinson. I've got Mo Stewart, Damian, Kavanagh and Kev Walsh to look a little bit back on Wednesday night, but if we're all honest, we're all buzzing for Saturday. This stage of the season, Mo, wins begat wins, momentum begat momentum. Everything feels like this happened, so therefore this is going to be better. That happened, so this is going to be better. So even something as what should be banal as a home win in an EFL Cup game against a Championship side, as you're thinking, can't wait to watch them again.
Exactly. I mean, if you think back to the last time we played Leicester at home and we conceded a goal in the first few minutes, it felt very different to when we did it on Wednesday. On Wednesday it was just like, sound. Like, all right, we're just going to win 3-1 again then, yeah? All right, fair enough. And that's just where we are at the moment. It's almost like a bulletproofness. The confidence that's grown from the players has kind of spread out towards us that we feel like we can take on anyone. And yes, it's going to be tougher teams than we've played in the last week or so. But when you are playing like this and solving different problems, you do feel like, bring it on, whoever it is.
You feel like that will like, these are theoretically, and this is why it's such a strong squad at the minute. You know, Jota and Gakpo are playing up front, and we're all excited about Doak. You know, Wataru Endo's a new sign in the middle of the park. I'm pleased to see him do well. Szoboszlai comes off the bench. You know, you can go on going through all, and Konate starts. There's such strength and depth that you can go, oh well, it's a different team, but it's also the team. A lot of the team are going to watch next Thursday as well. A lot of it is footballers who are going to play on Saturday against Tottenham, whether they start or come on. And you're just like, these are good players. They're good players playing well. It looks good. It feels good.
Yeah, 100%. And as you say, the thing with these is sometimes in a League Cup third round, especially if you're playing Champions League through the week where you're going to be a little bit stronger, it can feel like, oh, we're going, it'll be a little bit disjointed. But as me and you spoke about before, it's the fact that these players are playing together probably half a dozen times before Christmas. So before you know it, it's not like having two teams to support, but you sort of get what I mean. You've got the first 11 and the second choice 11, and the second choice 11 sort of damning them with a faint praise, really, because as you said, a lot of them are really good players, and there'll be more than a few of them who'll probably find a way into that first 11 over the coming months. You know what I mean? You talk about like Cody Gakpo, what a player he is. Diogo Jota scores every time he comes on the pitch. He's absolutely unbelievable, but he can't be guaranteed the first team spot because the three we've got up front. And then you're talking about the likes of Endo, and listen, he's had, I think a sticky start is probably fair to say. But listen, it hasn't been helped for the fact that half the time he was playing with 10 men, wasn't it, when he was coming on? So that's not a great ideal situation for him to be in. And I thought in his first half of the day, I was a bit like, oh come on lad, please, I really want you to do well. You seem like the nice fella in the world. And then second half, you started seeing a little bit from him, and I thought, hopefully that is the kick on. And in the past, you'd have been like, oh, it's a shame he's not going to get another game for 10 games or whatever. Whereas you're actually looking at Union on Thursday thinking, I can't wait to see what he does in that and see if he does actually kick on. So it's an exciting time, isn't it?
I think the exciting time, the extent to which, and listen, we're used to, as a club, as a city, make the best of it. And the extent to which I really feel like with the Europa League, with the way last season went, with the Europa League, even to an extent, someone like Wataru Endo, who, you know, let's be clear about this, we thought we were breaking the British transfer record for Caicedo. That's what we all thought was happening, so let's be clear. Make the best of it. Make the best of what you got, make the best of what's in front of you, make the best of every opportunity. And I really feel like this is what Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool, us, what we're all doing this season. We want to be in the big cup, we're not. Make the best of it.
It did, and the leadership that Jurgen's shown is pivotal in this. Because if you've ever got a manager involved in footy who is going to make the best of any situation and turn it round, and not kid you, but just say like there is a way to turn this to our best advantage, he's been the catalyst for this, because you know everyone lost their heads in the most of the transfer window, and he's just had that confidence, hasn't he? To just say, hang on a second, give me a chance. So and he was dead calm when he was all smiles, and I was like, my head is wrecked after that season. Do you know what I mean? It was like fair play to you.
Me and Neil, coming to blows on these shows.
I'd just give it a few minutes.
It wasn't that long ago, trust me, I remember. But like, he got what he wanted this summer, though, didn't he? I mean, we all talk about like the transfers, and we were all kind of saying, we need this, we need that, whatever. He was all about get them in, as many in early as possible. Let's have a proper pre-season. Let's do some training. And they did that more than they did last year. And he always feels like that's what gives us the first push. And you see him now. He looks like he's enjoying it more than I've seen him in quite a while. And it's like, it feels like, yes, it's comfortable. We got what we wanted, and now we can go out and do what we need to do.
I think he looks as energised as I've seen him. And I think if you've got a manager who would absolutely embrace, in fact, it's not 100%, it's not perfect, it could go wrong, and so I've got to have an undue influence in this to make sure it gets over the line. I think he enjoys that challenge.
Punching up, he likes that,
do you know what I mean? So sort of like, you know, Guardiola could be the greatest manager in the history of all time at managing a perfect squad. He could be.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you're going to say, well, okay, I might have a crack at that, but I tell you what, I'd rather have it a bit wonky. And I bet you I can go toe-to-toe and let's take our chances. And with a crowd like ours, the romantic side of that and the sort of like up and at them and against it a bit and whatever have you, it just fits in. Yeah, and absolutely that's the case. So I think a lot of people were, if not dispirited, we're a little bit pessimistic, and I think it's also on the players as well, because they've had to make this great start to make sure the crowd was never against Liverpool. It never in my knowledge been against the team, but when it's at its best, when it's really with the team, and they bought that quickly, because it was, you know, as much as the Chelsea result doesn't look particularly great right now, in the circumstances of the day, it was a creditable result, and we'd have all taken it before the kick-off. Yeah. And since then, bang, every result's gone our way.
I think part of this, Mo, is in terms of making the best of it. We get back after that international break last season, get beat by City 4-1. We have a horrible game at Stamford Bridge. But I think there's a thing there where there's a little bit where I feel like Jurgen's gone, all right, well, next season starts now. Rather than go...
The big nine, mate.
We're talking about the big nine in the streets, and I think Jurgen's big nine thing with those games it wasn't so much the idea of we're going to get Champions League qualification, you never know that might come, but it was instead this idea of next season starts now then. Let's not mess about. We can start laying the groundwork for what we want to do next season, we do it now. And to me, that's a great example. You know, again, adversity happens. It'll happen to all of us in our lives. It happens to our football team, all of our football teams. Adversity happens. You've got to make the best out of adversity.
Definitely. And like the whole starting early thing is a really good plan, because he knew what we were going to face in the summer if the worst happened, if we didn't get in, all of the doubts, all of whatever. And he's like, we're going to need a body of evidence to say that this team here is able to do that. And that was what we got. And the momentum from there has carried us through. But he's always been about making the best of it. I think even when he came in, like, first of all, people wanted him to give grand statements, and he did some of that. But it was all just about, okay, let's just get to here. And then let's just get to here, and then let's just get to here, and just being more realistic about what's in front of us. And you mentioned the players there, Kav. I really think it's important to note how they've reacted to it, because there was a lot of pouting last season. We kind of glossed over it, but when we realised that we weren't as good as we wanted to be and as good as we previously been, I'm not saying they junked it, but it definitely did. It wasn't as...
Felt sorry for themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of finger pointing. There was finger pointing on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, obviously, a new set of players coming in, new energy. Everyone's going to be a little bit different in and around the squad. But you're seeing the Liverpool FC are really going hard with all of the behind-the-scenes photos of everyone together, joking, laughing, all that kind of stuff. These are good signs. These are things that they say, okay, we've got this now. I'm not saying we didn't have it before, but we've definitely got this now.
That togetherness, I think, that they're showing, Kev, is significant. You know, I think, and again, it's back to the how many teams are there, because the thing I really liked about the Wednesday team was that Szoboszlai comes on, scores the wonder goal in amongst all of that. He's part of it all. He loves scoring it, celebrates it like a maniac. He's also in the other team. Curtis captains it, plays right back, jumps through the hoops, does the job all the way through. Desperate to see them win. You know, they are sort of a little bit broken in that, but the togetherness is what you get to see. You feel as though they're a gang of 25, and that's the way it's going to work all the way through the campaign.
Yeah, you can sort of compare what's happened to our squad to Tottenham on Sunday. They've lost Harry Kane, and it seems to have brought them all together. Yeah. And it might be the case that we've lost Henderson and Milner, who were the leaders, without a shadow of a doubt. And so other players have stepped up into that void, and they're filling it, and they've grown because of it. I think Van Dijk he's always been a leader, but he's definitely noticeably stepped up to be more of a captain this season than he was last year, because he probably felt like he was stepping on Henderson's toes last year with some of the things. And it's only little things, but stuff like welcoming them all back in, and like that fosters a spirit of I'm one of the boys here. And especially for the younger ones or the newer ones, like McAllister's walking off, he's like, well, it's Virgil van Dijk, that. You know, he's won the World Cup and he's still looking at Van Dijk going, that's Virgil van Dijk, that. And Szoboszlai will be the same. And so you've probably got, you could probably run through the whole squad and make a case for them all, haven't done it. But the likes of Trent, 100% he's going to have stepped up. Curtis Jones, he's flourishing with his new responsibility, isn't he? So sometimes it's like saving a flower back, and you take the top off it, and it regenerates and grows even bigger and better. And that's what, hopefully it continues, because it really looks like that at the moment for Liverpool, and hopefully it doesn't continue for Tottenham, because we've got them on Sunday.
Curtis Jones is you know, I don't know, he plays that game against Chelsea to go all the way back, goes through the rest of the season, so he's unbeaten. Liverpool don't lose any of those games. They draw where a couple where they should have won, but you know, he's there all the way through. Being present this season, got himself into the side, ends up being captain. Absolutely adore him. And spirit, attitude, but also football intelligence, you know, to just go and rock up and play that right back role the way in which he does. I think he's been so important to this. Yeah, massive, I mean, we've always loved that scout's confidence that he oozes, doesn't he? You know, and he's brought it to and it's sort of like he's had his detractors, and I always thought that was a bit harsh. I've always really believed that he's got this level in him. You know, that he really could be an integral member. You know, there's no doubt about it. We've always spoken like this. Maybe not necessarily at Liverpool's peak in their first 11 in the most important game, but an integral part of the squad that gets Liverpool to those positions. And then when they're in that position, someone you can absolutely trust. Well, he's played a few positions. He's stepped up on the responsibilities. He's absolutely nailing it, isn't he? You know, and you know, if this was a player that was you know, it's mad thing in football, isn't it? Because you've got him, you don't appreciate him. But if you've seen him playing for somebody else, you'd
if we signed him in the summer, you'd be buzzing, wouldn't you? If you signed him as well as the other two in the summer, you'd be thinking, oh my God, we are flying here. Because we've already had him, and he's just stepped up another level because he's given new responsibilities. He's like having a new player, but not. He's a new player who, by the way, already knows everything about what's going on and has already got the focus because it's his boyhood club. I'm made up, and I've always said that I like them. And I think a lot of people used to say he chews the ball, and he was just playing in a midfield that was chewing the ball as a whole. He didn't have the option of a Szoboszlai. It was a Henderson, and listen, God love Henderson. He's a Liverpool legend, and he always will be, regardless of what's happened now. But towards the end, he wasn't on the half team, was he? He was playing the ball back where it came, and that was a criticism that was always levelled at him through the career. And so Jones is probably looking, going, well, what do you want me to do? I haven't got it. Now you put him around the better players. It's no wonder that he's flourishing.
He had less options last season. Because like you say, Henderson can't do as much of the other things as what you've got Szoboszlai doing now and McAllister and all that stuff. So it's opened up, his decision making has definitely got better. But the confidence that you talk about, Kav, like it's evolved. Because before it was like, I want to get on the pitch and I want to prove I can do anything on the pitch. I want to run here, I want to there, I want to blind waiting from 25 yards. But now doing everything on the pitch means something different. It means basically being everything for everyone else, being the facilitator for everybody. And I mean, Robertson, we were all talking about with this new system, how's Robertson going to suit? We're going to have to get a left-sided centre-back in there, he can't play there, he's not going to be able to do the Robbo bits anymore. He's doing them, because Curtis is there. And Curtis is basically just covering for everybody else to make them be able to do the things that's making them the players that they are. And they be able to have the confidence to say, I can do that, I can do that. Right back, I can do that, I can do that. That's what kind of confidence that's really going to keep him in this team.
We've benefited also, by the way, with regard to Curtis, and I think young Harvey as well, who I was worried about his place in the squad, and he's absolutely stepping up here. He's snapping into tackles, coming off the bench.
He was great Wednesday.
Oh, he really was, and he showed. But I do think for those two in particular, the success they had with the young English team in the summer, you know, I've never, you know, I wasn't supporting them. I didn't even want them to win the final, but I did recognise that this would have a byproduct. You know, look at the way West Ham knocked up at Anfield, having won a trophy. You could see the togetherness in them. You could see the confidence in them. Now, I think that those two players, I thought it was great news that England had done so well at that level with those two players, and I thought we've got a great chance of being beneficiaries here, and it's absolutely bearing fruit in the start of the season, hasn't it?
Okay, it is the Friday night. We are in the Tempest on Tide Barn Street in the city centre. Curtis Jones' city centre, by the way, as that is where he is from. And it's a pleasure. We are sponsored by Erdinger, which you can get upstairs in here. Yeah, it is delicious. Here's a little break. We'll be back in a second to talk about Tottenham.
And Erdinger, please. Don't forget the best bit.
Welcome back. It is, I'm with Mo, Damian and Kev, but you're not that bothered by that bit. Because you want to talk about Tottenham because we're excited. Kev, I'm so excited. It's, I think it'll be a good game. Two good sides. Everyone likes him, the manager. You know, he seems as though he's got a really good attitude. They're going to play a certain way. It may play into our hands, it may not. They may be the better football team on the day. You know, that's the way in which it's going to go. We'll see how it's going to go. But I feel as though a win it's the big game. Like next weekend we play Brighton, but the 4:30s Arsenal versus City. And maybe you shouldn't think like this, but I think it's the game everyone's going to take notice of this weekend. What happens in that one? Tottenham versus Liverpool. This is the big game. We are the big game. We're prime time. It's Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I mean, there's something about this fixture which possibly gets a bit more of that romanticism in it. I mean, if you look at Liverpool's records, everyone sort of goes, before you play Spurs, you know, most people go, tough one that, and then look at our records. And our record contradicts that because we usually do really well. You know, I mean, Liverpool have been doing really well these last few years. Spurs are doing great guns. It's nice to see, you know, the way that they, you know, they've cracked on from the summer that they've had. They're a dangerous opposition then, and on their own pitch you're going to be worried about that, with the atmosphere of it and whatever.
They're going to be up, and it's such a good ground.
Oh yeah, you know, so there's all those things contributing really to a cauldron that Liverpool can be against, and it felt like that. And we drew with them 2-2, didn't we? A season or two ago, did we?
Last season it was 2-1.
Yeah.
Last season it was 2-1, but there was all the pressure on at the end.
So
that's
right,
they peg us back 1-2-1. Keeper makes a great save last 10. And we get out 2-1. It was our first away win of the season last season.
But it really felt like, you know, under the cosh, you know, whatever, you know, towards the end and that. So they've got like a great supporter we're going to throw at it. They've got an attractive team. Liverpool have done really well this season. Trent's back, isn't he?
The manager was very hopeful in his press.
Okay, so if he's back, then I think that won't half help. Tactically, I don't think we can afford to just go toe to toe with it and see how we get on. I think we've got to be, you know, much smarter than that. And if Trent does play, when we played Villa at home, Trent stayed further back and we kept a clean sheet. And I don't think that was a coincidence. And I think if we've got that level of surety and maturity, then we should be able to repel them and then just look at what we've got going forward. So it's about making sure we don't make those mistakes, stay in the game. These players have been round the block, you know. I've got a huge respect for what Spurs are doing, but we are slightly better than them, and I'd like the result to reflect that.
You and me both, mate. I feel like we've always brought our best to Spurs away in the last few seasons, which has been great for me, obviously, because it means I can give my dad some shit. But this is a brand new team, so like from their perspective, all of their previous defeats against Liverpool kind of wiped away. Like, if you kind of think of the team that they're probably going to play against us, there's only really like the front three, Romero, who were regularly playing last season. It's like 7 new players. Even if they weren't new to the club, they weren't really playing. So they've all got this new energy of like, I know what you all say about the history of Tottenham and all that shit. That doesn't apply to us. We're a new team. We can go out there.
Postecoglou will definitely be fostering that spirit.
Exactly. So they are going to be dangerous. They are going to have belief in them. But from our point of view, we do have good memories of this place, and we do know that we can go there and turn it up. And it has been times when they've had to kind of get behind the crowd because they're a bit shit and they feel like they need it. And to be fair to Spurs fans, they normally do that as well. So we've been there when it's been a really live atmosphere, and we've done well. We've come through it. And I do think we can go toe-to-toe with them, because I do think depth-wise we are better than them. So even if we have gone behind, as we have all seen, I don't think we're going to be a problem. We've all only been behind 1-0 by far. If it goes to 2-0, then that's a different problem to solve, but I still back us to solve it.
Well, that's interesting, because that's sort of my concern, and the manager was in his press conference today. By the way, the game Damian was thinking of was the 2-2 the year before, when Robertson ended up getting sent off. Kane should get sent first off.
That's
but the atmosphere was huge that night. It was huge. I think it was the same kick-off slot.
So I think that's what's coming our way again.
Absolutely, but just as part of that, really, the manager was very big on, basically, we're not a perfect team. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep... You know, we're not, the starts aren't great. It was dead funny. He made this line about, you know, we are having team meetings before the match. We're doing really good that time we're having team meetings, which, you know, just makes you think, they just turn up at the car park and go, right today, boys. We'll fix it as we go, don't worry about it.
I think we should all just get in the ground 10 minutes in. No, we've missed their goal and then you know, that's it, isn't it?
But no, they've got, the thing for me is what they've not done, Kev, and there's been moments where it could have happened. Wolves is a great example. They've not gone 2 down. And I take Mo's point of, and I'd still back us to solve it, because I'd still back us to solve it as well, just about, I love this Liverpool team, they look great and they're full of spirit. That said, you don't want to be going 2 behind, you don't want to be going 1 behind. I'd love to see what Damian sort of describing, which is 90 minutes of Liverpool just looking that bit better. But that's 90 minutes, that includes 100 minutes if you want. That's minute 0, please. I'd like a bit of minute 0 from them.
Yeah, 100%, and I think, listen, the players don't want to go 1 behind, really. No. West Ham at home, it wasn't just the first 10 minutes, we were conceding shots, well, headers more... specifically every 5 minutes. It felt like it in the first half when they were attacking the Kop, and obviously Jared Bowen ends up getting that one. And there's no, as Klopp's alluded to, there's no way they haven't been speaking about it, and they'll have an idea. But the problem you've got is you might have to deal with going 1-0 down because Tottenham are good. Do you know what I mean? Shit can happen. And do not go 2-0 down because as much as I'd back us, there's a galvanising effect on Tottenham if they go 2-0 up as well. It's 1-0 is a little bit fraught and a little bit scary and a little bit exciting. 2-0, unless they get giddy, which they just don't strike me as that type of team, then you really are up against it. That's not to say that if we do go 2-0 down, we're not going to get it out the game. But you don't want Tottenham getting their backs up. You definitely don't want that ground getting its back up at 5:30 on a Saturday night. So just be a little bit more switched on and listen. I don't think we're saying anything that Virgil van Dijk's not looking around and saying anything the changes, is he? Virgil's like, I'm last, did he score earlier? You just scored for us, I don't think that's the attitude, but we just got to find a way to make me just be a little bit sharper when we first take onto that pitch and go at it from minute 1, as you say, to minute 100. And if we do, listen, I see a way where we could absolutely batter these, you know, like I said the other day I thought we'd batter Leicester even with the different team, and I think that's how it really worked out. I know they had a few chances, but we were all over them. They
4 cleared off the line and we hit the post and bar.
Honestly, we absolutely battered them. And I think against these, there's half a chance of that, because don't forget, listen, these are a good team. It's only a fortnight ago that they were 1-0 down in the 98th minute against Sheffield United, who might get the lowest points total of any team ever in the Premier League. So it's not like it's beyond the realms of fantasy for Liverpool to go there and score 5. Yeah. I'm not suggesting that we will win 5-0, but I wouldn't back against us winning 3-0.
Well, I'll come back to that, because one of my things is I feel as though if we do start relatively well and then grow, which we've been growing, we haven't been starting relatively well, but if we start relatively well and then grow, I think there is a universe where it actually just become quite comfortable, because I think if they're going to play and keep playing, and that's the sort of football team they are, which is what they seem like they are, then I think that can play into our hands. If we can get ahead in the game, I think if they play and keep playing, I think we can find our way to assert ourselves over the course of the 90 in quite a dramatic way, and they'll come away thinking, you know what, we played well there. We had a couple of chances, we did this, we moved them around, we looked after the ball, and we could be thinking, yeah, but we've got 3 points and we won 3-0. Yeah, that's a real way in which I envisage that game going in all seriousness. So that's how I envisage it going.
The thing with that is it could well go like that, because plan B for them is just plan A again. So if we get 2 up in the first half, he's not going to start launching it forward, because it's not his game. And I think
it's important he can't do that. He can't say to them, this is what's brought you so far in the party, I'm changing it.
And because he's at the start of his journey, and because they're so behind, because he comes across as an absolutely amazing fella, doesn't he? Like you listen to his press conferences and you just think, yeah, what a lovely fella. But he's doing well with them, so he can't afford to risk that, where he just throws the baby out with the bathwater because we're getting beat 2-0 at Anfield.
Liverpool. Son's not winning headers against Virgil, is he?
Nah, so that's where the road you can see. Listen, that same road, their fans will be saying just play plan A again, and we scored 2 in the first half, and before you know, Liverpool are chasing us.
Because they're a good side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's an ebb and a flow to this type of thing, but I really can't see a way forward for Liverpool to win.
I quite like us to we talk about going 2-0 down, I quite like us to go 2-0 up, or at least we have a 2-goal lead.
So would I, Mo.
Because I reckon Virgil will for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, like all those 3-1s, if you look at the time we scored the third clinching goal, like 85 minute, 88th minute, 89th minute, it's like literally at the end of the game we're clinching it. If we can get like that kind of lead a bit earlier, much of a buffer, then maybe we can start to make them think about, okay, well, this isn't our day, we'll move on to the next one. Because they're always going to be able to be in the game. When you've got Son, who's such a threat on the break, and let's face it, he's always fucking scores against us.
Yeah. Look at Anfield last season. Like that madness last season at Anfield. Exactly. It was incredible, wasn't it?
But he's brilliant.
Oh yeah, he is. He's marvellous. Yeah. We'd have loved to have signed him at some point, surely. You know what I mean? You know.
And they're always dead good at set pieces. A lot of their goals come from set pieces. So those 2 things are always going to kind of keep them with a puncher's chance of scoring a goal. So that 2-goal buffer would be great, so in case they do get one of those, we're still in the lead, we can counter back.
I think going back to the making the best of what you've got, this is where Jürgen's team, it's sort of like, it's like back to when he first had us, and at some point he perfected it, so much so that we killed the European Cup final against this team after 2 minutes. Yeah. We went a goal up and said, that's it now. Yeah. See you later. And we haven't got that yet, we're still imperfect yet. That was a perfect team, you know, we did everything that we could ask for, it was the greatest team in the world and proved it. But this team is sort of, I don't think Jürgen goes into this and just says, we'll outscore the opposition. You know, let's just, you know, I know we'll score more goals than you. I think he just does if we're attacking, it's the best form of defence by definition, because we're going to be all over you and you haven't got the ball and you're on the rope. So it's not a question of he accepts that they will score a few, and then but he absolutely believes in the fact that the best way of minimising their chances is if we've got the ball in their half. And I think that's where we're growing into it. And I think, you know, talking about what you were saying there before about if we can get a foothold in the game, which would be a tremendous achievement there. You know, they've had a great start, you know, for all the reasons, you know, that we've been talking about. But that's the Jürgen model for the rest of the season, and if it flourishes on Saturday, it'll be a fantastic development.
We all starting the big fella.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're mentally.
I think he's got to, yeah. I think he's got to. I mean, as much as he can justify, you can absolutely justify Mo's playing on the right and 2 of the others are playing.
Yeah.
But I would start the big fella. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
His pressing, which is what's been an issue, is improved tenfold. He's focused and he's doing it at the right moment and he's doing it in the right ways. To say to him, you've been amazing, now here's our biggest game of the season and you're out, I think that risks, because he's obviously one of them ones who loves being loved, isn't he? And I think that might be the one that just turns him off a little bit. And I've heard you speaking about maybe there's a pathway to not playing against Brighton away, and I can see that. But if you don't play him against Tottenham and then don't play him against Brighton, you're probably a bit back to square one.
Yeah, I think there has been a little bit of a kind of a pull and push with him. Like Jürgen has kind of almost not necessarily riled him up, but certainly left him hungrier a few times, and it's almost been like, you've done what you think you should do to get in the team, but you haven't done what I think you should do to get in the team. You've still got to earn it. And now, like you say, his pressing's much better. Now he looks like he's earning it. And now he's there, and he's proving it. You've got to keep him rolling.
It's the Friday night. It's time for another pint because it's going to be a great game of football on Saturday. I'm not going to ask them for a prediction. I think they're all confident. They should be. Tottenham should be confident as well. The point is that people should be confident. They should love the football team. But I think ours is a little bit better. And I think ours is going to show it's a little bit better. And I think it's going to be proven in the scoreline. See you later.